it all comes down to access to information, access to financial systems.
For me, I would say securing one future helps you secure the futures around it. The same way that I was able to pour into my family and my community about secure futures as a whole, I'm able to encourage my teachers to get my students signed up.
Two decades ago, a mortgage broker named Lloyd Levine got tired of saying no. No to people who'd worked hard to buy a home, but no one had taught them how the system worked before they got to his desk. So he set out to build something to fix that. Today, Secure Futures has taught thousands of Wisconsin students the difference between a debit card and a credit card, how compound interest actually works, and why paying yourself first is the secret to saving for your future. But teaching the rules and changing what someone does with those rules turned out to be two very different jobs. I'm Shannon Sims. This is Rising Forward Stories of Change, a weekly conversation with people building businesses to solve real problems in our communities. I'm talking with Brenda Campbell, Executive Director of Secure Futures. She'll share with me the phone call that changed how her organization defined success. And later in our conversation, I'll meet Dejah Banister, who didn't just learn the lesson, she got the receipts to prove it. Brenda Campbell with Secure Futures. Everything is said in the name, but I want to know what Secure Futures really wants people to know about what you're doing here in the city of Milwaukee and beyond.
Yeah, that's a powerful question. And I think what it comes down to is financial empowerment. We exist because we are working to help students become financially empowered and secure their future.
You know, we learn all of these things in school. We learn math, we learn reading, writing. Some of those things we continue to use in our day-to-day lives. But one thing we aren't taught a lot of times in school is how to deal with money. And we deal with money every day.
Every single day. You're earning it, you're saving it, you're investing it, you're planning for the future. But at least now the game has changed a little bit. The landscape has shifted because now Wisconsin is one of 30 states that has a law that requires that students get a personal finance course to graduate from high school. So things are much better than they were 20 years ago when we started. But I will say there's more work to be done.
Okay, take us back to 20 years ago when you started with the program. What did you think you were getting involved in?
Yes. So the founder of Secure Futures is a local businessman named Lloyd Levine. And Lloyd was a mortgage broker, a mortgage banker, and he was tired of turning families away that didn't qualify for a mortgage. And so the question he asked is what are we doing to make sure that people learn about managing money and building a credit score and understand how the system works before they get to this point? The people in their 30s, 40s, 50s that are not able to buy a home, that's pretty sad. And he pretty quickly learned that schools were not really addressing it and families weren't addressing it. Many parents were not teaching their kids about managing money. So across the state of Wisconsin, we had thousands of kids that would graduate every single year without a clue how to manage money. And he said, I think we can do something about that. And that was our start.
That mission got personal fast. What was the point in your journey with Secure Futures over the 20 years where you realized this could have an impact on economic injustice?
Yeah. It's reinforced all the time. But, the story that comes to mind, we go way back. I want to say it was probably 2008. My own daughter went off to college. She had been managing a checking account that I was overseeing as it was a custodial account. I was a signer on her account. She was doing a great job with it. But her college used a different bank than ours. So she opened a new account with a different bank, and a few weeks into college, I got the call. I had a hysterical daughter telling me that She had overdrawn on her account. She made 5 purchases that were all under $5 each. It was a binder, a bottle of shampoo, a slice of pizza, and each one had a $41 overdraft fee. $41. So
Times
5
5.
times.
Woo.
So I said, okay, it's going to be okay. Here's what we're going to do. You're going to first transfer the money from your savings account to your checking account. You have the money there. 2, you're going to call the bank because you've not made this mistake before, and chances are they're going to waive all of these fees or at least some of these fees. And 3, honey, you're going to realize that you just learned a really valuable lesson, and you are going to be monitoring your account more carefully, and you won't make this mistake again.
But she had all of these support mechanisms.
Yes. And Shannon, I hung up the phone and burst into tears because that was when I realized it's about access. Like, we don't have an equal playing field. And there are some kids that can't call mom and say, what do I do? You know, it's different when a child grows up in a home where these concepts are talked about regularly and modeled. And that's just not the case for every student.
The lesson from that phone call ended up reshaping the whole program. So talk about the different programs you guys have created and who you're marketing those programs to.
Yes. So everything we do right now is at the high school level and predominantly high school juniors and seniors. We started in 2006 with a program that we call Money Sense. And Money Sense is foundational financial education. So it's budgeting and saving, understanding banking, understanding how credit works. And the idea is that we have recruited and trained business community volunteers who are matched to a high school classroom, and they go in from 1 to 6 times to teach these foundational concepts.
So it's not just a
Money
one
Sense.
and done. And again, 6 touch points.
6 if they're delivering the whole program. Now, we were delivering this program for a few years when we found a way to measure the behavioral impact of the program. And, you know, long story short, what we saw in collecting that data was that students coming from an under-resourced community were lagging behind in behavioral change. So while they would score as well on a post-test and, you know, the scores looked great, they weren't taking action at the same rate as suburban students.
And you wanted to be able to get them to take the knowledge and to act on it.
Exactly. And that is the birth of Money Coach. So Money Coach is an 11-week financial mentoring program, again, delivered by volunteers. And over the course of those 11 weeks, that volunteer will work one-on-one with a student and help them take those concepts and put them into action in their own life. So they begin to build financial habits that will stay with them as they graduate from high school and move into the adult world.
And again, addressing the behavior with money.
Yes, it's all about taking action.
You see, when you've got a parent to call and a little cushion in savings, an overdraft is an easy lesson to learn. Just ask Brenda's daughter. But Brenda learned fast that for her students, the stakes are nowhere near that simple. There's no safety net to catch one wrong money move. That's why what they learn in Money Coach isn't just budgeting. It can break a generational cycle. Take Antonio.
Antonio was a junior in high school at Bradley Tech High School when he went through Money Coach. And he shared this story about how when he was in middle school, there was one morning when his mom woke him up for school holding a candle. He was like, oh, utilities are off again. She hasn't been able to pay that bill. And it was something that happened from time to time. And he's like, gosh, you know, I really need to like learn how to manage money, and hopefully I can help her too. And so that was what motivated him. When Money Coach, was offered to him, he immediately signed up, and he just became like the financial all-star. And he becomes like the go-to guy. He's the youngest employee, but he's the guy everybody's turning to.
Now he's
like
the money coach.
He's the money coach. Yeah. And they're like, how did you do that? Like, how can I do that? And fast forward, last year, Antonio had his first child. He had a little girl. And I heard through the grapevine, and I gave him a call to congratulate him on the birth of his baby. And he said something I will never forget. He said, Brenda, you have no idea what it means to be able to raise a financially empowered child. And I was like, that's breaking the generational cycle.
Confidence powered by knowledge changed the direction of Antonio's life. If you're just joining us, I'm Shannon Sims. This is Rising Forward, Stories of Change. Secure Futures has no shortage of stories like Antonio's. Here's another, Dejah Banister. I caught up with her, and she wasted no time putting what she learned into practice.
What was the first introduction to, was it Money Coach for you?
Yeah. So me first hearing about Money Coach really started from me being just a overly nosy child. I met one of the coordinators at our school, and I was like, that lady seems fantastic. Like, I need to figure out why she's here and what she's involved in. And through that, she told me all about Money Coach, and I was like, okay, sign me up. We sat down and we talked about a budget. And of course, like growing up, you hear like, budget, yay. No, we put pen and paper to my budget and realized that for me to be so young, I spend way too much money. I've always been like a hard worker. I've always said that like money finds itself to me, but I also find myself to spend it. So through that conversation, I had like, I wouldn't even say a aha. I had a uh-oh moment where it was like, girl, where is this money going? So through my budget, I actually had like a stipend from a program that I was a part of. And we put that in a CD. We were like, okay. He was like, you spend too much money, you use too much money, you don't need this, put it up.
Okay.
So we were able to actually put that money up with the bank that I was using, Educators, that I am using. I love Educators. And we were able to put that money to the side, and he basically told me forget about it. And I did.
You did.
I did.
And I love how, as a child, you put away some money that, as an adult, you were able to use.
Absolutely. That same CD that he told me to put up and forget about, I took him a little too literal and absolutely forgot about it. So as I was in the process of buying my home, like things got dark and things got dark fast. We were like, where's this money going to come from? This is an amazing opportunity for me to purchase my first home, and not even my first home, but my first property. I bought a duplex. So now I'm, recreating some of that money. I'm living a softer life now.
She said, I'm living a softer life, and you're a landlord.
I am. And my banker at the time, she was like, you have a CD. And I was like, I do. I forgot about that. So while that money was forgotten in my mind, the bank did not forget about it. They loved on it with all of the interest that they could put on it. And it helped me wonderfully with my down payment. It took so much stress off of my shoulders for me to make one seemingly unimportant move way back then of just put the money away, don't touch it, leave it alone. And leaving it alone helped me really move the needle in my life.
What was the conversation around money growing up?
There was typically no conversation around money. You knew that things happened around the house. You didn't know how it happened, but you knew that mom always made it happen. So once I started having some of those conversations in Money Coach, I'm like, okay, perhaps this is something I need to take back to mom. My mom has a very beautiful open door policy where she's willing to teach us, but she's also okay with us teaching her. As long as we declared a safe space, she would take that information and run with it. So we had a couple of safe space conversations where it was like, okay, and how much do you make? Can we put that into a budget? And, asking your parents how much they make when you still living off of how much they make is not always a thing to do in our community. So there were a few side eyes until I was like, okay, so if you do make potentially this much, this is what a budget could look like. And once we started moving through that conversation, it became a bit more free. We were able to really talk through about how to save money, how to budget, which credit cards do we need to pay off first? Like, you have student loans. Let's actually tackle those before it comes down the line. As we work through trying to put me through college, like my mom played a pivotal role in that. I still need to see your budget. You can look at mine too, but let's figure out and make sure that you're not overspending on me and my schooling when you still have a house and home to take care of as well.
And how did that change your relationship?
It really allowed for us to see each other as people. A lot of times parents and children only see each other as parents and children. There are times where I can come to the table and say, this is what I need to discuss with you. We need to have this discussion. And perhaps before it's too late, now this discussion needs to happen with my younger siblings. So being able to really open that line of communication as it relates to finances, that's just not something that happens within our communities. It's such a taboo conversation. So for me to be able to kind of bridge that gap, that was so important, because now when it's my turn to bridge that gap, it won't be as hard.
Dejah broke a silence at her own kitchen table that had lasted a generation. That's the exact gap Brenda spent her whole career trying to close.
There's story after story like that come to my mind when you ask about alumni. I mean, this program works in such a powerful way, and there's something beautiful when you see that confidence. I was telling you about Miguel, the young man that went in to buy his dream vehicle, and he walked in knowing exactly what he was willing to pay, how much he was financing, and when he flashed his 823 credit score, they delivered for him. So that's confidence.
Oh, my God. What would Milwaukee look like if every high school, junior, public, charter, private school had Money Coach as a part of their education? What would our city look like?
That's my dream. I mean, there's something, you think about, there's definitely an individual impact of this program, but we also see the ripple effect with the family. And I think what you're talking about is the ripple effect to the community. We become a stronger community when people are, making better spending decisions and saving more money and avoiding, all of the additional expenses you get when you're not managing your money well. It would be a powerful place to be.
And Money Coach, Secure Futures is not just in Milwaukee. Share with me how you've been able to expand.
Yeah, so each of our 3 programs has a unique footprint, right? So Money Sense, which is the foundational financial education, is delivered by volunteers, people that we've recruited from the business community. Our footprint there is really Milwaukee Metro. For Money Coach, because it is specifically designed for students who are under-resourced, we have that program in Milwaukee, Waukesha, and Racine. And then Money Path, which I haven't even talked about yet, but that is it's a powerful way for students to connect the dots between their post-high school path and their financial future. So it's a web-based application, and this program has amazing scalability because it's delivered by the educator. I mean, we've also worked it into Money Coach, and we have, one of our staff members delivers in Milwaukee, but for the most part, it's delivered by the educator.
Meaning they have the program and they are using that curriculum to share with their students.
Yes. So the scalability there is we are statewide, and educators from 10 other states have found us and reached out to ask for access to Money Path, and we have granted that. So
how does that make you feel to know that the work you joined on to 20 years ago is not only thriving here in the city of Milwaukee, but also that people are listening, people are watching to see how it too can affect their communities?
It's incredible. I mean, and it's talk about teamwork makes the dream work. I mean, this program only exists because people are willing to volunteer. Donors are willing to support it financially. Schools are willing to partner with us to bring it in. And I mean, it is the perfect example of what happens when people unite together around a cause.
Brenda's talking about this at the state level. Here's what it looks like in just one classroom. Dejah's.
Now I feel even more spectacular because I'm able to share it with my students. So we actually just pushed another class right on through Money Coach. And we had our celebration last week. I had a student come back and say, okay, now can we talk through my financial aid? And I'm like, we just talked about this 2 weeks ago. And they're like, okay, but now let's talk about it and put it into my budget because I think this is how much money I'm supposed to get back. Let's talk about that. And I'm like, okay, you're pre-budgeting. I love it. I have social workers that come and say like, okay, this student needs to learn. Like they do not have the resources to figure this out on their own. Put them at the top of your list. I'm able to have those conversations. So it's not just happening in the classroom. It's happening around the classroom. It's happening around the community. As soon as you touch one person in Secure Futures, that person now has the ability to touch many.
Brenda Campbell spent 20 years learning that managing money isn't a personality trait, it's a set of skills, and some people never get the chance to learn them. Dejah got that chance, and she's living proof of what that chance can build. A forgotten CD becomes a down payment. That down payment became a home. A lesson learned in one classroom became a lesson she now teaches in her own. That's compound interest, not just growing in a bank, but growing through a family, a classroom, a community. Secure one future, Dejah told me, and you secure the ones around it. I'm Shannon Sims. Until next time, keep rising. This week's episode was produced by Mic'd and Ready Media, production services by Story First Media Group, helping purpose-driven organizations discover the stories only they can tell. Our audio and videographer, Dwight Cannon, our associate producer, Brianna Sitkowski. If you like what you heard, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rising Forward Stories of Change. Full episodes drop every Tuesday on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcast.